One must now look at what is the historicity of management of crop and basically crop marketing in Uganda. What is the historicity? In terms of Uganda, investment in agricultural products commenced by a company, and that company was the Imperial British East African Company. So the basis, the faucet origo of company management of our crop in Uganda for export purposes has always been based on either a company or a scheduled corporation. Now, when you base the same on a government entity, based, and of course where of course the overriding reason is given by a ministerial directive, then you are now subjecting proceeds of coffee to prebendalism. Now, prebendalism is where a leader himself helps himself to the resources of an entity within the ministry, majorly to ground himself politically. So we don't think it is really materially advisable that Uganda Coffee Development Authority can be undertaken by a cabinet ministry. That must be left by a scheduled corporation, by Uganda Coffee Development Authority, which has the capacity to research, capacity to market, capacity even to research on market. Uganda is failing to undertake what we call value addition in terms of the coffee sector, for example, because we, as a government, we have failed in terms of market research. I can give you an example there is one other company, because the government went to Russia, government went to Serbia, government went, and I can tell you that you have also heard that a coffee hub had been opened in where? This is what the market details. The market does not think Uganda can value add on coffee, but the market thinks we can partner with those other companies, with those other countries, because the biggest consumers of coffee, including Finland, Germany, the United States, they don't produce coffee itself. It is coffee that is imported from either Africa or Brazil. Now, Uganda has failed to enter the Middle East market, and instead it is Brazil that is marketing, and India, you can imagine. What they intend to do with us is a partnership program that, for example, includes branding of our own coffee. We can continue and constitute the branding mechanism itself, but they do not supply the value addition machinery, for example, for production of coffee. But they take only cherries and beans to the extent that we can have an increased price. So the price increment can be guaranteed. And those are details that can only be negotiated by export scheduled corporations, but not a government. So I think what Uganda needs to tell us is whether it was material for government production to be taken to levels of scheduled corporations than ministries. A permanent secretary is not a business person. He's a bureaucrat. Now, bureaucracy does not actually export and promote business. Bureaucracy instead only looks forward to who signs checks and where, budgeting and all those entities. Now, Uganda Coffee Development Authority, in my opinion, should maintain what it has been doing, so that it is actually a takeover from the Imperial British East African Company that had managed Uganda's coffee and other crops to the extent that by 1962, Uganda's economy was growing at the same growth rate with the economy of Great Britain. That is where we need to go.